In 1996, the United States and the rest of the world, I guess, fought a desperate battle against some evil alien invaders who were blowing up cities real good all around the world, and they won. They won the battle. They sent those tentacled freaks packing. It was great. But now, 20 years later, either by astonishing coincidence or carrying the same kind of sentimentality with anniversaries that we have humans have, the aliens have come back with an old score to settle with bigger and better arsenal. And they're ready to blow up the world real good all over again in Independence Day Resurgence. This is today's review. Now, part of me really likes this movie, and I'll tell you why. For all fairness, I think Independence Day Resurgence, it asks some fair questions of itself. Mainly, how would the world kind of go on if there really was like this big full-scale worldwide alien invasion that left cities in ruins and killed off families and kind of left certain things behind, like certain technologies behind? What would we do? Like in the first movie, it's 1996. You can pretty much count it as the real legit 1996, right? But in this movie, it's not the real legit 2016 that we currently live in. And so, like, really, within the reality of this movie, the entire history of humankind has changed. And I would assume for the better, because, like, I mean, it doesn't go in too deep. It would have been nice, actually, if they actually went even deeper into the science fiction and all the implications of how the world works, but they kind of do their best in that, well, for one thing, humankind has the alien technology and they're using it to their benefit. They also mentioned there's throwaway lines that the world as a whole has kind of thrown away its petty differences and work united to be the best human beings possible, which I don't quite know. I mean, it's a nice throwaway line and a nice thing to think of, but you gotta figure, I don't know, like maybe there are some people out there who don't quite buy that, who would still kind of go with their petty differences. And I mean, like some asshole in the Middle East, you gotta figure, oh, this is a sign from Allah to wipe out the infidels or something like that. Or even, not even that, maybe like someone in the Bible Belt, like, this is a sign from God that we have to kill all the gays or something like that, you know? And I don't know. The world seems pretty united, I guess. I mean, it was really funny about the movie. Like, they have the alien technology, and they have like these kind of flying cars, almost. I guess you can call that flying cars. And they even have like they set up like a moon base, you know. And they even have a giant frickin' laser on the moon because they're very much in a mindset where they have to take preventative measures in case there ever should be an attack again. So the world is kind of united in that. And even the self-proclaimed orphans of this war, they've kind of gravitated towards going to that base and joining the military, keeping the world safe and things like that. And that's all really nice. And the world is somewhat united on this base. I mean, we have the white people, and we have Chinese people up there, and well, I didn't actually see any Middle Eastern people there, but I don't know, like they shy away from that because we see Europe too, we see Africa, and I don't know, in the Middle East, did they even show in the first movie or like after? You know how like after in the first movie they're like, oh, call everybody around the world, tell them how to shoot down the motherships and things like that. And it's like, well, did you call the Middle East, Mr. President? It's like, oh yeah, we tried to call him, but you know the we got the machine, but we're gonna keep trying. And whoops, Middle East is off the map now. 9/11 will never happen now. So I don't know. There's so many implications you could, because like they could go through another line of thinking where they could try, you know, to make it as close as possible to 2016 today, right? So they could have a very similar, like, I don't know, but like just the implications of it, like history would change so much. Like there wouldn't have been a 9/11 in the reality of what this movie sets up, right? So I don't know. There's all that, but it makes a very science fiction tone about itself, and that I do kind of respect. That I do kind of have an admiration for to an extent, because it is kind of an interesting kind of climate of the world that they set up, where they have these space stations and all this stuff, and the world is indeed different than what it would be right now, right? So I kind of like that, but in a certain way, it does take a huge risk that I don't think pays off, and that it does kind of alienate the audience quite a bit, you know. But I do kind of respect that, and that like they're just not like regurgitating the same old shit. Like I'll tell you right now, I don't think it's quite a good movie, but it's not so stupid that it's like eye-rollingly stupid, you know what I mean? Compared to something like Jurassic World, which I did think was eye-rollingly stupid. It really was. Like that just pretty much was complete fan service. Give people the exact thing they want, dumb it down as much as they can. Big stupid loud dinosaurs. Here they try to create this whole new universe, and they don't quite make it what it could have been. They don't quite give it the thought and care that I guess we would need in a whole new science fiction universe of the whole world kind of united and things like that. So it doesn't quite achieve it. But I would say of all this stupid big budget blockbuster garbage, it is thoughtful in at least some sense. But so anyway, we have like all the characters, like way too many characters, much like with the first one. So we have Liam Hemsworth, he's a pilot in that place, and Captain Hiller's son, Will Smith's son, or his stepson from the first movie, and the president's daughter is with Liam Hemsworth, and they're kind of friends with Will Smith's son, and there's some bad blood there, kind of silly backstory that kind of creates at least a little bit of an arc for the characters. There's a buddy who I don't know the actor's name. He kind of looks like Adam Scott a little bit, like a younger Adam Scott. Anyway, and there's Jeff Goldblum is back, and Charlotte Gainsbourg is kind of like an old flame. So I'm not sure what happened with his ex-wife when they reunited in the first movie. And there's the ex-president and a new president, and the guy who we thought was dead in the first one, Data from Star Trek, he's back. He's in a coma. He comes out, and essentially there's a new alien attack, and that's what it's all about. And the ship is bigger. You know, I'm sure you've seen the trailer line. It's much bigger than the first one. You know, and it comes to attack the world. And I think that's where the problem is, because within, say, the first, I don't know, maybe like 40 minutes of the movie, I was kind of shifting in my seat a little bit. I was getting kind of bored. I'm like, yeah, I kind of appreciate this, but can I see some shit blow up already, pretty much? That's what I'm here for. And I don't think it quite delivers on that, which is disappointing, because you would think with all the technological advancements in special effects technology, Independence Day, a movie itself, it kind of paved the way for such developments. You'd think they'd have something really, really, really mind-blowingly awesome to at least, if they're going to go this way, if they're going to go a little bit more science fiction-y of a way, if they're going to go a way that risks alienating the audiences in this really kind of different kind of idea with this futuristic world, you'd think that at least kind of have it pay off with some cool explosions and shit. But when the attack does come, it's sort of a non-event, really. Like, there's some muddled CGI, and I guess it has some weird gravity pull to it, where we see the flames, we see the explosions, sort of, but then like cities are being sucked up into this gravitational pull, and water's being sucked up, and I guess it's supposed to be this great new technology the aliens are using, but it's kind of lame, and it didn't really show too much of a skill. I mean, they showed London, I believe, and they showed, I guess, New York again, where Vivica A. Fox is in I guess she's a nurse now, and she's trying to save a baby, or something like that. And it's I'll give it this, it's not the shaky cam bullshit of like any kind of like Transformers, Michael Bay movie. I appreciate that, I sincerely do. But it is kind of hard to follow. Maybe it was the 3D. I saw it in 3D, so when you see 3D, it kind of get blurred a little bit, and, you know, kind of some cool effects in the movie and things like that. But I don't know, it's kind of a non-event. And so what really were the highlights of this movie, strangely enough, were like the actual physical, on-ground, like, aliens outside their ship effects. I thought those were pretty cool. Like, there are actually quite a few scenes where they kind of cause a little bit of rampage outside of their ships themselves. Like, we see that they can actually like carry guns and walk around. We see that, you know, these big aliens are really just little aliens in little suits, and they split open, and that technology improved quite a bit. And this kind of goes into a spoiler territory here, But it turns out that there is actually a queen alien, which is this big, giant fucking thing, which I'll say is at least cooler than that dinosaur in Jurassic World. Have I mentioned I hated Jurassic World? This is a better movie than Jurassic World. As disappointing as it kind of is. So, I mean, there's some cool stuff. And there's some cool alien action, dogfight kind of stuff that we kind of got from the first one. And while it is different, really it does follow the same kind of basic structure as the first one, where yes, there is lead up to the attack. There is the attack, there's a failed retaliation to the attack, and then there's another retaliation, which is kind of the Hail Mary. They even call it a Hail Mary move. Beat the clock kind of end scene where it doesn't quite work, and then there's a twist to it, and then they save the day and things like that. And guess what? There is a setup for a sequel in the movie. So, what can you say about this movie? So, it does take pretty heavy science fiction elements to it. There's even kind of not so much a subplot, but a moment that kind of reveals itself in the plot. Again, a little bit of spoiler territories here, but there is another species other than these evil aliens, other than humankind, that has been affected by the evil aliens too. Like, they're the space bullies, basically. So there's this whole other race that kind of unites with humanity. That's kind of an interesting concept, but I don't know, it doesn't go quite far. Like, the whole movie kind of feels like this weird concept that never would have been made. You know, like how you always, like, read, like, an IMDb trivia is like, oh, back in 2016, there was a proposed script that involved the humankind using alien technology in the future, and then a whole big thing, or whatever. Anyway, you know what I mean. Like, it's just this weird concept. But again, part of me appreciates the fact that it goes for something different, that it goes for something unexpected, I would say. Like, it would have been so easy to go that other way, to make it like, this is 2016, as close to 2016 that it actually is now, and then there are aliens here, which I think maybe would have been better in like a lowest common denominator kind of way. Here the movie has high aspirations, but it just doesn't have the skill to pull it off, which, you know, party admires it. Party's like, come on, why are you wasting my time with this? But we have Jeff Goldblum back, and he's pretty fun, and Judd Hirsch back, pretty fun. Really good chemistry between those two. That's like almost like worth it in and of itself to see Jeff Goldblum and Judd Hirsch share the screen again. And that's another thing. Like, the plot is just so all over the place, where it's just not structured in as secure as a way as the first one was. I mean, the first one definitely had a lot of characters, but at least seemed to know what it was kind of doing with them. At least knew kind of the memorable character arcs and the memorable moments and the best they could possibly get out of even like the tiniest characters. Here, not so much. Like, they're like just kind of out of nowhere. Like, you think Judd Hirsch is going to die, but then he doesn't, and he like finds these kids who show up out of nowhere, and he finds some more kids and gets on a bus, and he's like Moses leading the people out of the desert or something like that, and it's like, what the hell's going on in this movie? And we just really needed like a Will Smith kind of character. I think he was the third heat in the first Independence Day movie, and I thought it pulled off immensely well. Here, the closest thing I would say is Liam Hemsworth, who, to his credit, I think he is a charming actor. I think he is a good kind of action star in his own kind of way, and we could have used more of him. And we could have used less of Brent Spiner, because his spiel gets really fucking old really fucking fast. Like, with his wild eyes and long hair and the jokes about him coming out in his hospital gown and scratching his butt and things like that. So this one, much like the first movie, it has a lot of characters, but it doesn't really pay off. Like, there's a little kind of romance with the Adam Scott guy and the Chinese girl, and the Liam Hemsworth character is dating the president's daughter, and there's little arcs there, and Jeff Goldblum with Charlotte Gainsbourg, and little things like that. So, I mean, it has the same tropes that the first movie does, but it doesn't pull them off quite as well. Maybe it just feels kind of weird in this new environment, this new science fiction environment. I don't know, but it feels like an awkward movie. But at the same time, I'd say it's at least admirable sci-fi. It's something different. They could have very easily done the exact same bullshit all over again, which they kind of do, but they kind of don't. So it's this weird middle ground that I don't think quite works. But it's not unwatchable. I'll say that. So I would rate Independence Day Resurgence 2.5 stars out of 4. The evil aliens are back with a vengeance, but their attacks aren't that interesting, and the characters themselves don't really stand out as much as they did back in 1996. So it is a little bit of a disappointment, but I would say it's not a huge piece of shit. I'll say that. Put that on the DVD. Not a huge piece of shit, says Derek237. That's my review. So I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. Kind of in a weird middle ground with it. So maybe I can watch it again, see if it's better. But there's a lot going on in the movie. I'll say that. So that's my review. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. Visit Derek237.com. And until next time, I'll see you later.